Now, in order to start working on the timeline, I need to have a project, right? So what I'm gonna do is, and Final Cut Pro is already prompting me to create one. So I'm gonna click on it, this new project button. I'm gonna name it Canoe. Uh, you can actually leave the date when it was created, so you can browse it and find it if you need to find it. And there's a number of ways to find your project. I will show you later. But we created the Canoe project, and again, you have your media here, your favorite clips, um, and I want to start putting these clips on my timeline. I'm gonna go back to the video also because um, I think that the most efficient way to deal with projects like the one we're gonna be creating, postcards, is to actually lay down uh, the interview first, right? So the chunks of interview that we're gonna be using are gonna basically help us structure the project. So I'll first put this this entire clip. Let me see. Let me grab it here. On, and you'll notice that there's a little bar here, like it's a magnet. I normally like to leave it on, so whenever I put another clip on my timeline, it will directly stick to the previous one. So I'm gonna do an endpoint here, an out point here, and I'm gonna bring this clip here. So first I have my main character, Manari, talking. My second character is Dolores talking. And you see that there's, at the bottom, maybe you can make them bigger. You see at the top, at the top you have the video, and at the bottom you have the audio, the waveforms. You can actually eliminate them or keep them as they are. I prefer to have to see that there is audio in, in my files. So I have this option to here that can maybe reduce the size of the video, just video, just audio perhaps. I think that the better viewer for me usually is this one, this third one. So I'm gonna keep it like that. I'm gonna keep my timeline relatively short. So I'm gonna teach you a couple more ways to incorporate footage to your timeline. So as you see now, your viewer is used both for the media here and for the timeline. I favorited two little videos here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first bring a little part of this one. I'm gonna put an endpoint here and an out point here. And one thing that you can do if you are not happy with the selection you made, you can actually move this selection with your little bar, or you can just click Control O if you want to delete the out point, Option I if you want to delete the sorry, Option O and Option I if you want to delete either the in point or the out point, or Option X if you want to delete both, right? So again, I want to put an in point here, an out point here. Now suppose that I am happy with this selection and I want to place this at the end of my clip. There's these three commands here, and you see there's a little notice here, appended selection. So if you click on this button, the the Final Cut is going to add your selection right at the bottom of your clips. Even if your let's say your cursor was over there. Let's say I make another selection, endpoint and out point, and I click the append media. The media is going to appear at the bottom. Look, so it does appear at the bottom. Now there's other ways to deal with including media into your file. The second way is to, let's say that I want to put this selection here because Rosario is talking for way too long, so I want to put it in between, in the middle of that clip. So I'm going to place my cursor here, and instead of appending the selection, I'm going to insert the selected clip in between those two media I'm going to insert it in the middle of my my clip, and you will see it will part it in two. So you have one section, and you have Dolores, Dolores talking again. Now, the final way to incorporate media is this little button here as a connected storyline. And what this will do is it will allow you to add a secondary timeline, right? A timeline above the timeline, and that is usually what you do to let's say create B-roll, right? And use B-roll. So let's say that I want to add some B-roll in between this transition here and here. I have my selected media. I'm going to add it there as a B-roll, right? Now there's a number of things that I can still do. For instance, work on the already on the media that I already have, expand it or reduce it. Right? I can move this clip here. I can move it to a different position, and you see that there's a little tail that connects this secondary track with the first your main track. So that makes it slightly complicated to move tracks from the main timeline because they're usually connected to the secondary track. So let's say that I wanted to move the secondary track, the secondary clip, the main clip to the bottom. The secondary clip will stay attached to it, and it will follow it around. Now, you can actually move this clip independently and put it somewhere else, and then play around with your media. And you see, since I have the snapping tool, all the media is going to be snapping and creating like connecting with each other without any space in between them. Now let's say that I wanted some blank space in between this clip and this other two. I need to change my my cursor to the positioning cursor, and by moving this clips a little bit, I create basically blank spaces here. Now let's say that I want a little bit of that at the top to create a fade in. Just move this a little bit, and now I have like a black space, and then my clips starting. Now this the cursor, the selection tools, the items tools are useful for a number of things. Like the standard that you're going to be using is a select, but as you saw, the position tool will help you move clips and create space in between them. And also you have a blade tool, which will allow you to splice media and cut them, and now work with them as independent parts. You have a range selection. Let's say that you want to select these two pieces of media to actually create a transition in between them, you can actually use that range selection, and the process becomes easier. The timeline can be expanded or reduced by using this augmentation lens at the bottom. And I normally try to stay with the selection tool, because if you keep the blade, then you're gonna start slicing things around. Okay, that's it for now. In the next video, we're gonna add a little bit of music underneath, and we will start exploring transitions.